The New York Times calls it the biggest upset in college football history. Nevertheless, it is a story few can tell.
And although Central Kentucky up there, it is legend. They call the formula C6H0. You're going to want to understand that. Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier with the story.
Center College in Danville, Kentucky is a 199-year-old liberal arts college sitting naturally in the dead center of Kentucky. There are gorgeous original buildings still standing, but the best story on this campus is linked to the only graffiti on campus, right here on the old post office. With an old-fashioned paintbrush, someone painted C6H0. They call it the formula.
And the reason that C6H0 matters so much to us at Center, and I think to our America, it's really not about football. It's even not about the game. It's a larger construct where the things that seem impossible are made possible.
It was 1921, a time when Southern football was a joke. If you wanted real football, you had Notre Dame and Newt Rockne, and even better, you had mighty Harvard. In fact, in 1921, Harvard had not been beaten in 6 years. They had won 7 national championships. And who were these praying colonels from rural Kentucky? They had one rickety bleacher and a couple hundred students. These guys were going to play Harvard? Hopeless, right? But here's the thing. Center had a quarterback named Bo McMillan who was probably the best player in America. He sure thought so.
Bo McMillan, if you could imagine, was one of those guys that in the huddle, he would say to his teammates, "I'm going to score on this play." And he would.
Still, this was Harvard. Unbeaten in 6 years, at home in front of 48,000 people. This was before TV, before radio, so people gathered in downtown Danville to listen to the game on Telegram.
There was crowds of thousands in Danville and Somerset listening over the intercom. They had the thing wired up, and as soon they say Bo McMillan for 6 yards around the right end, and there'd be a cheer, and they would have to wait like a minute, and then they said, Bo McMillan tackled for a loss, 1 yard. Oh. I mean, it was, but you know, it's funny that the crowds would stand on end listening to this game.
Until Bo McMillan scored on a 32-yard run. David 6, Goliath nothing. The giant was toppled. C6H0. It was front page news in Boston.
The praying colonels came home to a hero's welcome. The governor was here to shake everyone's hand. There was a big parade down Main Street. Everybody showed up. There was a flatbed truck, someone playing piano, 2 saxophonists belting out the Center College song, and of course the paint buckets.
A young woman named Ruby Moss wrote a friend, quote, "The only thing I can say to describe is the town went wild. Every window in town received a coat of yellow paint. Center 6, Harvard nothing." It was real stuff too, not whitewash.
This was a little tiny institution in the South that went up and played in front of 48,000 people at Harvard in Boston, and they beat them. And it really was back then, would it be like us playing Alabama? Well, kind of.
In 1950, the Associated Press named it the biggest upset of the first half-century in American sports. The New York Times has called it probably the biggest upset in college football history. But here at Center, it's something different.
And so I think these kind of stories are worthy of being retold because they say over and over again, hard work, dreaming big, imagining what others can't imagine in this country is still possible.
I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News.